Life.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Dee Dee. Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all so much for tuning in once again. So today I'm back with a story time type video. I want to speak on the whole subject of how single mothers create independent women and coddled, unmotivated men. The men that most women complain about in this day and age. So I have a bit of a story time that I want to share. And I want to say that this story may not be your story, but it is somebody's story. Just keep that in mind. So make sure that you chime in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to hear whether you agree or disagree, or do you think this exists, or if this affected you in some way, shape, or form. Make sure you chime in the comments below. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. Before we get into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It is free to subscribe, share, and like the video, and turn on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new content or go live. So single mothers create independent women and coddled, unmotivated men. Now, let's just look at this. So a son and a daughter, right? Raised in the same household by a single mother, and the son was coddled by the mother with no male influencers in his life, only his mother, while the daughter was taught by her mother to be strong and independent and not to depend on anyone but herself. And also she's been taught that she needs to work hard and that she can do it by herself, oftentimes pointing to herself, the mother, using herself as a metric or a measure for how the young girl should achieve her goals and how she can do it as a single mother by herself. Not realizing that she's setting her up for failure. Meanwhile, the son is being coddled and with no, real expectations from his mother, no real goals set. He can pretty much kind of do as he pleases because she's favoring the son more than she is the daughter. And oftentimes we see with single mothers, they tend to put more pressure on their daughters to succeed, to go to college, to get an education, to be independent, do not depend on the man, because she has to do it by herself. So she puts that on her daughter to become better, and while also using herself as a measure once again to say, hey, as your mother, I'm doing it by myself and so can you, but you can do better because you're going to get an education. You're not going to depend on the man. You're going to do it all by yourself. And then you're going to turn around and help me as your mother. This is what we tend to see in single mother households. While on the flip side, the same pressure by the mother is not put on the sons. And a lot of times the sons tend to become lost. They have no guidance. They don't really know which way to turn. They don't have a male presence there to teach them how to be a man and how to go about manhood. So they tend to fall short in many different arenas. And this is why you often see that more women tend to go to college than men do. Men end up finding their way through trades and other ways and resources. And oftentimes they end up finding male leadership or male influencers to help guide them because they didn't have it and there was a lack of it in the household. But they tend to go through a different experience, something that women don't understand. And because they weren't raised with fathers, they didn't have a male influence. So they tend to sometimes get into trouble. They tend to build resentment towards the mother because they didn't have their fathers there and they didn't have the guidance that they needed from their father. They tend to sometimes get into trouble, become angry and bitter, and sometimes develop patterns that, usually in them resorting into criminal activity in some cases. And they go down this path of a way of trying to find themselves, but it doesn't always end up good for them. While the young women who was given advice by the mothers to become independent, take care of yourself, you don't need a man, go to college, build yourself up so that you can be successful. And then more pressure is put on the young ladies to become successful, to in turn around and have to take care of their mothers. And this is what we see in modern society. We see it happening. We grew up watching it happen. And we didn't understand it until we became adults and we realized how we were set up for failure. And this is how you create these independent modern boss chicks who are out here trying to deal with society. They have the pressures of being these independent women who don't need a man, who don't need nobody, who have to depend on themselves, and then in turn have to take care of their families because once again, they were raised by these single mothers who had to do it all by themselves. This is what they were told. As your mother, I had to do it all by myself and I did okay. And because I did it all by myself and there was nobody else to help me, that somehow you owe them something. A lot of young people grow up thinking that they have to in turn take care of their mothers because their mothers did it all by themselves. So now the pressure is typically on the daughters, if you really look at it, to be the saving force, to have to take care of mom because mom did it for me and my mama took care of me by herself as a single mother. So I owe her the world and more. We hear this all the time. So a lot of these young people are working hard to turn around and take care of their single mother who worked tooth and nail to make sure that they were good. Now the pressure is on her to take care of her mother as a result. And a lot of times it's usually the sons and the daughters, but more of the pressure is on the women to do this. While sometimes, in some cases, not all, the young men get a pass. They get a pass. They're not expected to do as much in some cases. So a lot of times you see situations where young men and young women were raised in the same household, where the woman was told the young girl was told she needs to do this, she needs to do that, and oftentimes put out of the house at 18. There are young women who have complained about this and have told their stories about how their mothers were more difficult and expected more from them than they did their siblings, their brothers. Where in many cases, these young women were forced out at the age of 18 and had to figure it out and still were expected to come and bring the funds back. While the sons were still able to stay in the home, not forced to get jobs, not forced to figure it out so soon, they were coddled and able to have a little bit more grace than the young women. And some would say, hey, this is based on, women, the mothers being jealous of the daughters. There are a lot of different reasons as to why and implications as to why this happened, but it does happen in some situations. So fast forward, then you have created a society of young women who have become successful, didn't have help most of the time by their mothers, had to really do it all by themselves because that's what they were told to do. Never thought about creating a life with a man and building a family with a man early on because they were told not to do that. While they have siblings who are young men who are their brothers, who were able to have more time to develop themselves and build themselves up, and oftentimes not as successful as the women. And what that builds is a resentment between siblings and amongst the mothers as well, because a lot of women resent their mothers and sons resent their mothers because they didn't give them the tools that they needed to be the best man that could be because they can't raise a man or teach a man how to be a man. And the women resent the mothers because you push them to be independent and not need a man. And that's the very thing they end up wanting and desiring when it's too late. So this is how you end up creating a society of men who these women complain about, who are complacent, these men who are unmotivated, uninspired, sometimes unsure, or don't have this ambition that these women are talking about because they were pushed early on as young women to do the most. And now they're looking for somebody to surpass them. They're looking for a man to do better than them, to be motivated to be better than them so that they can finally have somebody to take care of them, which is something that they never were taught to look for and something that they've never ever experienced because they were taught to be the breadwinners, don't depend on the man. And now when they get older, now they're looking for the men to do the exact opposite of what a lot of men were taught to be when raised by single mothers in some cases. Now, is this to say that every person raised by a single mother thinks this way or act this way? No, but this does exist. And there are many people who have told me about it. Hence the reason why I'm telling this story is because this is how a lot of women and men end up despising and resenting their mothers because they weren't given the tools that were necessary for them to thrive and grow and be what they need to be for their own lives. So once again, a lot of the men that these women are complaining about were raised by single mothers. They weren't motivated by their single mothers in some cases. They weren't given the tools that they needed to be a man and to provide for a family because their mothers didn't teach them that. A lot of these women were raised to be independent boss chicks and strong and independent, and you don't need a man, but get it by yourself. Don't depend on a man just to turn around and not have a family, not have a husband, but your mother is the one that you end up having to provide for. There are so many situations where people are struggling to take care of their mothers. They don't have their own lives. They're still in a position to where they have to keep working hard, keep leveling up so that they can just take care of themselves and their mothers because they feel they owe that to their mother. It's a pressure that they have on them to constantly level up so that their mother is taken care of for the rest of her life because she doesn't have a man that she can depend on. And now you in turn don't have a man that you can depend on. So you have to be the breadwinner for you and your mother. While a lot of that pressure is not always on the sons to do the same. So when women finally make it and they have this opportunity, they want a man who can take care of them. This is part of the reason why I think a lot of women say, hey, if a man doesn't make what I make or more, then he's not good enough. I don't want to work with a man. I don't want to go 50-50 with a man because I had to do it all by myself. And that wasn't easy. So I be damned if I'm going to go half and still with a man and still work hard with a man when I had to do all of this by myself. No, I need a man to come in and do it all or nothing, because I had to work hard. I was told not to depend on you. And if I'm going to be with you, I want you to provide 100% of the time because I feel like I deserve that.
Oh my God.
That is part of the reason why so many women think that way. And it's hard pressed for them to see it any other way, because for their entire lives, they were told not to depend on a man. You don't need them and you have to work hard. And as a result of them working hard, they feel bamboozled, bitter, lied to, tricked. And now if they're going to get a man, they expect him to do it all because they refuse to do it. This is why they say my money is my money and your money is my money, because I'd be damned if I had to work hard all these years by myself and I finally get a man. No, I need you to do everything and I can just enjoy the fruits of my own labor and you need to come in and bring it all. So in turn, they look at men who don't want to do that as, as less than, as men who are sassy and don't want to provide for a woman. No, the bottom line is a lot of these women have been tricked, have been sold a lie. You've been hoodwinked. You've been given a set of rules that does not benefit you when it comes to relationships and men. And a lot of men have been raised by single mothers. And a lot of these men are not motivated to keep on leveling up and leveling up. They're kind of like in a space where, they're comfortable where they are. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I think there are men who just don't see it that way because they were not taught that way. And because the mothers were not able to give these young men the correct advice of how to be a man. And oftentimes, a lot of these men have to learn that from other men. And a lot of them do. But at the same time, they're not looking at it in a space of, I got to make all this money in order to have a relationship, when women, because they've had to work super hard and were told and taught to do it, they require and expect more. So this is why women are looking at men the way that they're looking at them. But the only person that you should be blaming behind this is your mothers, the mothers who raised you.
Oh my God.
It's the single mothers who create this dynamic. Because when you have two stable parents in a household, a mother and a father's going to teach his son what he needs to know, how to be a man, how he needs to go about it, what he needs to do. But a lot of women don't understand the nature of a man because you're not a man. You're not very good at teaching sons the things that they need to know because you don't know yourself. So there is a deficit that comes into play when it comes to young men and young women, because a lot of women are teaching their daughters the wrong information and they're not giving their sons any information as to what they need for life and how to be successful and how to build a family and be prepared to take care of a family because they don't know it themselves. So once again, this goes back to creating the nuclear family that's lost in today's society by creating families of two stable parents in the household to teach your daughters and your sons the necessary things that they need to know in order for them to thrive and live and to also create healthy families themselves. So this is a dynamic that you don't hear all the time, but you do have young women and young men who speak out about this, who have different experiences when it comes to their mothers, different experiences when it comes to their fathers, or different experiences because the lack of fathers and the lack of healthy, stable mothers in their lives. Because not only that you're raised by a single mother, but a lot of it was toxic as well because she didn't know any better and she didn't teach you any better. She only went off what she thought was right, and that's what created a lot of the situations that a lot of people are in right now. So once again, you have women complaining about men who are stagnant. We just did a video of a woman saying her man, he's able to work, he's able to thrive, he's able to pay all the bills, but she don't think that he's still ambitious enough because she wants him to surpass her. She wants him to do something that's going to make her feel like he's actually a protector and a provider when he's actually doing it, but it's not enough in her mind because even though like she said, she makes more money than he does, but he's still paying all the bills.
Oh my God.
So him being content with where he is, which a lot of men are contented in their jobs and their fields, and they do pretty well. But for a lot of women, that is not enough because they want him to thrive and strive and work hard like she felt she had to work. A lot of these women are in competition with men, and because once again, it's from that upbringing and the way that they were taught by their mothers. So if you're comfortable with where you are and you don't look like you're trying to kill yourself to work harder to build, she doesn't see you as valuable in her eyes. She needs to see you stomping the pavement, working hard like she knows she had to do by herself.
Oh my God.
And if she doesn't see that and you seem comfortable, but you're still able to make money to take care of your family, that is still not enough because it has to look and feel a certain way for these women. And you can blame your mothers for teaching you to think that way. So it's not that these men can't thrive, because a lot of men come from single mother households, and they were able to make it out and were able to do well for themselves. And they found a way through mentorships or, other men just helping them along the way. A lot of them get it from the military. It kind of helped to shape them, and they're able to thrive and take care of themselves and do really well and take care of families as well. But a lot of these women are still stuck in this mentality that their single mothers taught them since they were young. And if they don't see you doing something, if it don't feel a certain way, if it don't look a certain way, then they don't see it as viable or valuable. So I just think, once again, it's something that women have to retrain themselves and relearn, because the way they're thinking is not helping. And they tend to walk away from good men and good relationships as a result. A lot of men are lost, and a lot of men have found their way. But when it comes to women, they still have this entitlement and this feeling and this thought of what a man should do, how he should look, how he should show up, even if he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Oh my God.
Even if he's doing what he's supposed to do in it, but it doesn't feel or look the way she thinks it should, she has a problem. So once again, it comes from this idea of what single mothers have placed into their daughters for them to believe that, hey, I need to do it by myself, work hard, I need to accomplish all of these things, and, I need to do it by myself, but only to turn around and realize that you don't want to do it by yourself, and you want companionship and you want help. But not only do you want help, you want a man to come in and do it all. So now that you can finally have this era of this soft girl life that you were never taught about, but now you want it. But now you don't realize that even though you feel like you've worked hard for what you've accomplished and you don't want to share it, that's unfair to a man that you expect to come in to do everything and not understand what he had to go through as a man to accomplish the things that he's worked hard for. So it's something that you got to think about. There are a lot of people who will relate to this message. There are a lot of people who won't. But if you relate to this, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your story. Is this something that you had to experience as a young woman or a young man? Let me know in the comments below, because I've gotten messages from several young men and women who actually experienced this type of situation. And it's definitely created a resentment towards their mothers, where a lot of them don't have good relationships. A lot of them don't even know their fathers, don't even have a relationship with a father. And now the relationship with their mother is strained and toxic because of this very situation. So listen, y'all, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Definitely chime in on what you think about this story or this situation. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. So comment, like, subscribe, you guys. Hit that bell to be notified when I upload new content or go live. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
DeeDee's Reactions. Tell a friend, it's DeeDee's Reactions. It's DeeDee's Reactions. DeeDee's Reactions. Later.